Okay, so we have a choice. We have the Gita, we have Krishna Book. Okay, we'll go for the democratic system. Okay? But I also brought something very special. This is a first draft of a script. It's like 10 minutes reading. And it's called Hiranyakashipu Meets His Maker. And it's written by Krishna Swami. He's an American devotee. He's with Oxford, our center in Oxford. And it's very brilliant. It's wonderful. So we could, if you like, I could read this. There's only two parts here, two actors, two characters. Would you like to hear that? And then we could take it from there.
Yes.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay, it's for something a little different. Now, everybody knows the story of Narasimha, the half-man, half-lion avatar. And you all know the other character, the reason why he came out of the pillar, because Hiranyakashipu was obnoxious. So now, the way it's written for the two characters, H-PU. So, because I'm going to read both characters, I'll do the short form term. I'll say Hippu. Hippu means Hiranyakashipu. Because most Indian names are no. Okay? But Narasimha will stick to that. Okay? So now, here it is. Maharaj sent this to me last year, and that's his first draft. I have to get his second draft. But now, here's a little bit of the background. And I'm going to, in my reading, not only speak it theatrically, but I will also, for both characters, but I'll also give you a little bit of directions, okay? Where there's brackets, okay? Good. So, Narasimha Dev has just burst forth from the potical pillar of Indra's palace, roaring and blazing with wrath. Hiranyakashipu and Narasimha Dev have a heart-to-heart conversation. None of their words are heard by others. Okay? And here it is. Sounds like the pillar is going to come. Sounds like somebody's gargling back there. Okay, so here's Hippu. After the Lord appears, right? Oh ho! Oh! Oh no! Ooh! But no! Have I not seen you somewhere before? Narasimha says, yes. Don't you know? It's been a long time since we last met, hasn't it? Hippu says, but no. You're not Vishnu, are you? What's with the lion get up and all that? No, I'm not Vishnu. And even if you are Vishnu, it doesn't matter. You are powerless to harm me. Narasimha. Is that so? Is it? Hippu. That is so. I have all my benedictions from Lord Brahma. Yes, I do. Sorry, no way you can kill me. Narasimha. No way to kill you? I will decide that. Hippu. Oh, no, you won't. Lord Brahma has already decided I can't be killed during the day or during the night. Just this condition wraps it up. Narasimha, with mock surprise. Oh, really? So then, which time is it now? Day or night? Hippu, doesn't matter. It's day, of course. I mean, it's kind of nighttime. Well, almost. Narasimha. In other words, it is neither day nor night. Now is the hour of the evening Sunday. And just as you say, it is neither day nor night. Pleasant time, really. Don't you think? Birds are quiet. Sun is set, but stars are yet to appear. Quite charming. Let's enjoy it for just a moment, shall we? Hippu says, A moment, yes. No, wait. Day, night, or whatever, it doesn't matter. For time is only one consideration. There's also a place, and I hold the benediction never to die either within or outside of a building. And you, as you see, I am presently within Indra's palace. I'm presently outside Indra's palace. I am both within and outside Indra's palace. Narasingha says, I would put the matter slightly differently. You are neither within, nor are you outside the building in question. For you are on the portico, defined by all Shilpa and Vastu Shastras as being a threshold belonging neither to the inside nor, dare I say, to the outside. Hippo says, you don't take yourself to be quite clever, don't you? You do take yourself to be quite clever, don't you? Well, but clearly you don't know me. You don't know what austerities I've done to please Lord Brahma to obtain immortality. But why waste time with you? I will dispatch you and be done with it. Waves his sword and makes a thrust at Narasingha Dev, who deflects the sword with a swipe of his hand. Narasingha. Now, let's not get overly excited, shall we? There's really no point in putting on such a show. A small surgical operation will take care of everything. Just relax and don't resist. Everything will be fine. Don't worry, this won't take long. It was his voice shaking. No, you don't. You can't. Lord Brahma, he gave me another benediction. Yes. I can be killed by neither man nor beast, and you are obviously a beast, a lion. No, you're a man. No, you're both a man and a lion. So, nothing you can do to me. Narasingha rolling his eyes. Do allow me to rephrase your point. You can be killed by neither man nor beast. Indeed, I fully agree. In a low voice, but I am just that. Neither man nor beast, but rather both. I am Vishnu, and my half-man, half-lion avatar. Hippo, more nervous. Yeah, sure, I'm impressed. Quite a get-up you have there. What with the mane and the teeth and the claws. Not bad, I'm impressed, but sorry, it won't do. I have another benediction, and not to be killed by any weapon. So there, your club, your chakra, forget it. Won't do anything to me. No. Narasingha grabs him around the waist. No, you can't. Oh. Narasingha said, yeah, I know all that about the weapons. Don't worry. I won't assail you with any of my invincible weapons, but because I do want to honor Lord Brahma's cute little benedictions he gave you. Nor do any of my weapons have inclination to bother themselves with the likes of you. No, have no fear, none of that. You see, I have something else, right at hand, so to speak, and that is my fingernails, my claws, if you want to call them that. Shows his claws, and he wiggles them. Hippo says shakingly thoroughly, no weapons allowed. Claws are weapons. No claws allowed. Brahma's benediction, don't forget. Narasingha says, I don't forget. Don't worry. No, claws are not weapons. Never were, never will be. Not extra devices, just natural growths from the body. Rather slick, don't you think? And 10 of them. Lovely, smooth, sharp like razors, and yet completely natural, biological, eco-friendly, run on renewable energy, no fuss, no muss, and no collateral damage when sent to their target. It was being held in the air by Narasingha. But you simply waste my time. I have yet another benediction, to be killed neither on land nor in the sky, and yet now you are holding me in the sky. Narasimha, placing Hiranya on his lap. Oh, not really, you see. I've thought of that already. And I took my cue from the occasions when you had your son Prahlad on your lap. So I thought it only proper to give you the opportunity to sit, or rather to lie down on my lap. Because you see, the lap is well known to be neither on the earth nor in the sky. Isn't this wonderful? There you go now. That's it. You can drop your sword now. Comfortable. Head back. That's perfect. Now you are ready for our little surgical operation. Hiranyakashipu, looking up at Narasimhadev, who looks down at Hippu. Oh, you do seem to have me now. All this time I knew you were somewhere around, but I couldn't find you, for you had hidden yourself so cleverly, and I know you must have hired a lawyer to work out this method of getting around all my benedictions. Very clever! Narasimha, I've been peacefully residing in your own heart all along, but you didn't notice. You wouldn't listen to me. You would only listen to your wild mind and raging senses. Nor would you listen to the good advice of your son, my dear devotee, Prahlad. And now you have tried to kill my devotee. What madness! What led you to this? For your offense, you must die. And now this moment has come, the moment of truth. Hippo, it is so. My memory returns. I am your servant. But I forgot. I completely forgot. I'm the greatest offender, a terrible demon. Please, take me. Finish this wretched body. I am yours. Narasimha, as I said, just a small and quick surgical operation, and it will all be over. There, finished. Digs his claws into Hippu's gut, draws out the intestines, and makes them into a garland which he wraps around his neck. Here it is. Now, does that feel better now? Yes. He looks so much more peaceful now. He will be just fine. The end. So we read this little masterpiece because soon we will be approaching a little over a month the festival honoring Narasimha's, demise and Lord Hiranyakashipu's demise and Narasimha's victory over him. So now the sentiments and the information, it's all Shastric. There's a little humor in there, and that's all fine. It's all been a little bit modernized with, particular terminologies that are common to today. And as long as we, when you're writing, you're a playwright, you write a play, a drama, and you present it in the right rasa, then it's totally acceptable by the audience. Right rasa means the right mellow, the right mood, the right sentiment, And this is what Vaishnava playwrights do. They take the core principles, the values, and information that the Shastra or scriptures provide, and then they can work around it and embellish it a little bit. But you cannot deviate from the mood, the spirit, or the rasa. So I think Maharaj has done a great job, and I was happy to share it with you. I received it last year. I had another actor friend with me, and we read it together in Montreal last year, because I was there at the time, and everybody loved it very much. I guess somebody has to translate into French now. That's all. So whatever the language, just have to get the message out, the sentiment. And no doubt, Narasimha, the half-man, half-lion avatar, he is playful. He is absolutely playful. And it's compared to what he did with Hiranyakashipu. It was like a cat and mouse game. I remember in one of our temples, we had a little bit of it. In the wintertime, what happens is rats and mice come into the building, especially if it's an older building. And we had a cat to address the mice. And this cat was a very good hunter. And one day, I was walking through the prasadam room, and the cat had a mouse in the middle of the room. Well, that's the right place to have prasadam, right? And so the cat was just sitting there at the edge of the room, and his tail was going this way and that way. Even looking the other way, and the mouse was squeaking. And then the mouse started to, make its way close to a corner, close to wherever he could find like a wall with a hole in it. And he went there, and the cat just a little bit like this. And then when the mouse got a little closer, he bounced on it, and then he threw it back into the center of the ring, meaning in the middle of the room. And I just, I kind of felt a little sorry for the mouse, because it was, quick, don't do this, But I was just letting nature take its course. Fortunately, it wasn't prasadam time, and it would have spoiled everyone's appetite. But this ordeal went on for a bit. And again, the cat just kind of like, almost like that. And the mouse then was trying to make a getaway, and the cat just very fast, He understands distance and, what he can do, and he was so agile. And again, with his paw, flung it back into the center of the room and carried on like that until it was time to, I hate to say, go for the final moment of truth. And so, cat and mouse game, yes. The Lord deals. Hiranyakashipu was an unwanted character, and he was vile and wicked. It's a story that presents things totally black and white, as many of the stories do. Sometimes it gets into the gray area, gray zones, but chapter 16 of Bhagavad Gita, very black and white, and sometimes it's done that way. So, because you do have to draw lines. You'd have to draw some lines and say, is this dharmic? This is not dharmic. And, it makes it a little bit more clear. But we know from experience, all of us who are living here in this world, that in Kali Yuga, there's a lot of grayness. It is really, the lines aren't always so cut and dry. They're not so clear. So, but we always should be striving for being in the camp of what is proper, what is righteous, and so on. We should always strive for getting there, getting a little bit beyond the gray zone and into the zone of purity. Anyways, thank you very much for listening. And now, we can go to Krishna Book or Gita, okay? So we can have a vote, democratic system, okay? Okay, how many people vote for Krishna Book? How many people for the Gita? Now, Krishna will not be insulted if we're going to stick to the Krishna Book, because the Gita is his word, but the Krishna Book is about him. So it's two forms of Krishna Katha. He's not going to be offended. Don't worry for the minority group here. Don't worry, he will not be, Krishna will not curse you. He's not a curser. So I think we can grab that Krishna Book right there. Thanks for guarding it, Prabhu, like a lion. Okay, and we're just going to take one of the stories. We'll read a little bit through it. We'll do some, just spend a few minutes on this, and then we'll discuss. And then we'll leave some period for your questions. And I would like it if you could hold any questions you may have, anything at all about anything. Of course, that's to do with, related to spiritual life. Is that okay? TK? TK means trust Krishna. Okay? All right, so since we were dealing with a killing story, maybe it's a good idea to be non-violent, okay? We're supposed to be a loving kind of a culture, peaceful and so on like that. And I remember walking through the Denver temple, and the new temple president said, "So Maharaj, what do you think about these pictures on the wall here?" And I said, "Well, they're kind of gray and green and dark." And I said, "Well, there's something else." "Yeah, each one of them, Krishna's killing somebody here." And I think, yeah, don't you think we should have some themes that are a little bit on the happier tone? You know? And of course, it's always good when you eliminate that which is negative and dark and like anarthas, you know. But it's good to hold the great moments of joy and peace and where there's no worry, no anxiety. So we will pick a story here, and then we'll see what we can do. Okay. How about the Gopīs Attracted by the Flute? How's that? Okay. I was not yet a full-fledged monk. I hadn't yet joined the movement. I just met new devotees, and I was going to college. I invited this group of 4 men who were brahmacharis, monks, into my apartment for a one-night stay before they moved on in their travels. And one of them, his name was a Yogyapati, and then he got sannyas initiation as Bhaktimarga Govinda Swami. Okay? And he read this pastime to me. Okay? Okay. And we'll do a little charading, okay? With the arrival of the beautiful autumn season, the waters in the lakes and rivers became as clear as crystal and filled with fragrant lotus flowers, and breezes. What do breezes do? They blew. They blew very pleasantly. At that time, Krishna entered the forest of Vrindavan with the cows and cowherd boys. Krishna was very much pleased with the atmosphere of the forest, where flowers bloomed and bees and drones hummed very jubilantly, while the birds, trees, and plants were all looking very happy. Krishna, tending the cows and accompanied by Sri Balaram and the cowherd boys, began to vibrate his transcendental flute. After hearing the vibration of the flute of Krishna, the gopis in Vrindavan remembered him and began to talk amongst themselves about how nicely Krishna was playing his flute. When the gopis were describing the sweet vibration of Krishna's flute, they also remembered their past times with him. Thus their minds were give me a D. Disturbed. Disturbed, yes. They were disturbed. See, he's disturbed too. And they were unable to describe completely the beautiful vibration. While discussing the transcendental vibration, they remembered also how Krishna decorated with a peacock feather on his head, just like a dancing actor, and with blue flowers pushed over his ear. His garment glowed yellow gold, and he was garlanded with a Vaijayanti necklace. That means it's very long. Dressed in such an attractive way, Krishna filled up the holes of his flute with the nectar emanating from his lips. So they remembered him entering the forest of Vrindavan, which is always glorified by the footprints of Krishna and his companions. Krishna was very expert in playing the flute, and the gopis were captivated by the sound vibration. which was attractive not only to them, but to all living creatures who heard it. One of the gopis told her friends that the highest perfection of the eyes is to see Krishna and Balaram entering the forest, playing their
Flute.
and tending the with their friends. Persons who are constantly engaged in the transcendental meditation of seeing Krishna internally and externally by thinking of him playing the flute, entering the Vrindavan forest and tending the cows with the cowherd boys, have really attained the perfection of
Peace.
Transcendence.
Yoga.
Samadhi.
Samadhi. Yes, yes, yay. Let's hear it from. Okay, Samadhi, trance, means absorption of all the activities of the senses in a particular object, and the gopis indicate that the pastimes of Krishna are the perfection of all meditation and samadhi. It is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita that any one who is always absorbed in the thought of Krishna is the topmost of all yogis. Another gopi expressed her opinion that Krishna and Balaram, while tending the cows with the cowherd boys, appeared just like actors, going to play on a dramatic stage. Krishna was dressed in glowing garments of yellow, Balaram in blue, and they held new twigs of, what kind of tree? Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Huh?
Any tree.
Fruit. Mango. Yay! Twigs of mango tree, peacock feathers, and bunches of flowers in their hands. Dressed with garlands of lotus flowers, they were sometimes singing very sweetly among the friends. One gopi told her friends, "How is it that Krishna and Balaram are looking so beautiful?" Another gopi said, "My dear friends, we cannot even think of his bamboo flute. What sort of pious activities did it execute so that it is now enjoying the nectar of the lips of Krishna, which is actually the property of us, gopis?" Krishna sometimes kisses the gopis. Therefore, the transcendental nectar of his lips is available only to them. So the gopis asked, "How is it possible that the flute, which is nothing but a bamboo rod, is always engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord? The mother and the father of the flute must be happy." The lakes and the rivers are considered to be the mothers of the trees because the trees live simply by drinking water. So the waters of the lakes and rivers of Vrindavan were in a happy mood, full of blooming lotus flowers, because the waters were thinking, how is it that our son, the bamboo rod, is enjoying the nectar of Krishna's lips? The bamboo trees standing by the banks of the rivers and the lakes were also happy to see their descendants so engaged in the service of the Lord, just as persons who are advanced in transcendental knowledge take pleasure in seeing their descendants engage in the service of the Lord. The trees were overwhelmed with joy and were incessantly yielding honey. Enjoying the bees, really. Which flowed from the beehives hanging on their branches. Very good. Another gopi spoke thus to her friends about Krishna. "Dear friend, our Vrindavan is proclaiming the glories of this entire earth, because this planet is glorified by the lotus footprints of the son of Devaki. Besides that, when Govinda plays his flute, the peacocks immediately become mad, as if they had heard the rumbling of a new cloud. when all the animals and trees and plants, either in the top of Govardhan Hill or in the valley, very good, see the dancing of the peacocks, they all stand
Line, straight.
still. Who said still? Yay! She got it. And they listen to the transcendental sound of the flute with great attention. We think that this boon is not possible or available on any other planet. Although the gopis were village coward women and girls, they had extensive Vedic knowledge, such as the effect of Vedic civilization. People in general would learn the highest truths of the Vedas simply by hearing from authoritative sources. Another gopi said, my dear friends, just see the
Deer.
deer. Yay! Let's hear it. Is this a cow? Jeez. I don't know what kind of cows you see. Although they are dumb animals, they have approached the son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna. Not only are they attracted to the dress of Krishna Balaram, but as soon as they hear the playing of the flute, the deer, along with their husbands, offer respectful obeisance unto the Lord by looking at him with great affection. Yeah. The gopis were envious of the deer because the deer were able to offer their service to Krishna along with their husbands. The gopis thought themselves not so fortunate because whenever they wanted to go to Krishna, their husbands were not very happy. Another gopi said, my dear friends, Krishna is so nicely dressed that he appears to be the impetus to various kinds of ceremonies held by the women folk. Even the wives of the denizens of heaven became attracted. Somebody said it. Who said attracted? Yay! Okay, in the back room. Okay, we forgot what we were reading here. Even the wives of the denizens of heaven became attracted after hearing the transcendental sound of his flute. Although they are traveling in the air in their airplanes, enjoying the company of their husbands, on hearing the sound of Krishna's flute, they immediately became perturbed. Their hair is loosened, and their tight belts are slackened. This means that the transcendental sound of the flute of Krishna extended to all corners of the universe. Also, it is significant that the gopis knew about the different kinds of
Planes?
airplanes. What bird? I guess the seagulls, do they go like this and then they... Yeah. Turkey vultures do that too. They just, I don't know if you have, we have them out east, turkey vultures, they just go like this and then they glide for a while. Okay. Also, it is significant that the gopis knew about the different kinds of airplanes flying in the air. How about sky?
Skies.
Another gopi said to her friends, my dear friends, the cows are also charmed as soon as they hear the transcendental sound of the flute of Krishna. It sounds to them like the pouring of nectar, and they immediately spread their long ears just to catch the liquid nectar of the flute. As for the calves, they are seen with the nipples of their mothers pressed in their mouths, but they cannot suck the milk. They remain struck with devotion, and tears glide down from their eyes, illustrating vividly how they are embracing Krishna.
Love.
Heart.
Heart to heart.
Heart to, you got it, man. All right. Actually, the perfection of Krishna consciousness can be culminated in the shedding of tears from the eyes. Another young gopi told her mother, my dear mother, the birds who are all looking at Krishna playing on his flute are sitting very attentively on the branches and twigs of different trees. From their features, it appears that they have forgotten everything and are engaged only in hearing Krishna's flute. This proves that they are not ordinary birds. They are great sages and devotees, and just to hear Krishna's flute, they have appeared in Vrindavan forest as birds. That's a statement about transmigration of the soul, right? Great sages and scholars are interested in Vedic knowledge,
Antlers.
but the essence of Vedic knowledge, sometimes you understand, right? But, antlers, horns, but, okay, all right. But we lost our place. Thanks for... Okay, from the behavior of these birds, it appeared that they were great scholars of Vedic knowledge, and that they took to Krishna's transcendental vibration and rejected all branches of Vedic knowledge. Even the river...
Flows.
Which river? Yamuna. Very much desiring to embrace the lotus feet of
Krishna.
after hearing the transcendental vibration of his
Flute.
broke their fierce waves to flow very nicely with lotus flowers in their hands, just to present flowers to Mukunda with deep feeling. Okay. The scorching heat of the autumn sunshine was intolerable, and therefore the clouds in the sky appeared in sympathy above Krishna Balaram and their boyfriends while they engaged in
Breath. Breathe.
blowing their
Flutes.
flutes. The clouds serve as a soothing umbrella over their heads, just to make friendship with Krishna. The Aborigine girls became fully satisfied when they smeared their faces and breasts with the dust of Vrindavan, which was reddish from the touch of Krishna's lotus feet. When they came out into the midst of the forest, they saw that while Krishna was walking, some of the leaves and creepers of Vrindavan had turned reddish from the... No, I'm not doing money. Just feeling. It's Mohit's color, just, of this sweater. Guess it's a powder. Kunkum, yes. Hey, you got your kunkum color on today there, Mohit. Okay, had turned reddish from the kunkum powder which fell from his lotus feet. His lotus feet are held by the gopis on their breasts, which are smeared with kunkum powder. But when Krishna travels in the Vrindavan forest with Balaram and his boyfriends, the reddish powder falls on the ground. Another gopi began to praise the unique position of Govardhan Hill in this way. How fortunate is this Govardhan Hill, for it is enjoying the association of Lord Krishna and who are accustomed to walking on it. Thus, Govardhan is always in touch with the lotus feet of the Lord. And because Govardhan Hill is so obliged to Lord Krishna Balaram, it is supplying different kinds of
Fruits. Apples.
fruits and roots and
Flowers.
green.
Grass.
No! Put in soup. Leaves. Herbs. Yeah, who said herbs? Identify yourself. Okay. Yay! Okay. We are on the last page here. As well as very pleasing crystal water from its lakes as in presentation to the Lord. The best presentation offered by Govardhan Hill, however, is newly grown grass for the cows and calves. Govardhan Hill knows how to please the Lord by pleasing his most beloved associates, the cows and the cowherd boys. Yeah. Another gopi said, everything appears wonderful when
Krishna
and
Balaram
travel in the forest of Vrindavan playing their flutes and making intimate friendship with all kinds of moving and non-moving living creatures. Somebody said entities. Wrong. Who did wrong here? Oh, Mataji. Terrible. When Krishna and Balaram play on their transcendental flutes, the moving creatures become stunned and stop their activities. And the non-moving living creatures like trees and plants begin to shiver with ecstasy. These are the wonderful reactions to the vibration of the transcendental flutes of Krishna and Balaram. Two more paragraphs. Krishna and Balaram carried binding ropes on their
back
shoulders and in their
hands.
Just like ordinary cowherd boys. While milking cows. Cowherd boys bind the cow's hind legs with a small rope. This rope almost always hangs from the shoulders of cowherd boys. And it was not absent from the shoulders of Krishna and Balaram, in spite of their being the supreme personality of Godhead. They played exactly like cowherd boys. And therefore every thing. Very good. You watch TV, don't you? The old reruns, The Addams Family, right? And therefore, let's see, everything became wonderful and attractive. While Krishna was engaged in tending the cows in the forest of Vrindavan or on Govardhan Hill, the gopis in the village were always absorbed in thinking of him and discussing his different pastimes. This is the perfect example of
Krishna
consciousness to some
people.
Sum it up.
how. Yeah, don't you get it?
How?
Aboriginal people, Indian chief. How? To somehow or other remain always engrossed in thoughts of
Krishna.
The vivid example is always present in the behavior of the gopis. Okay, girls like this, boys like this. Right? Got it? The vivid example is always present in the behavior of the gopis. Therefore, Shri Chaitanya declared that no one can worship the Supreme Lord by any method which is better than the method of the gopis. The gopis were not born in very high Brahmins or Kshatriya families. They were born in the families of Vaishyas, and not in the big mercantile communities, but in families of cowherd men. They were not very well educated, although they heard all sorts of knowledge from the Brahmins, the authorities of Vedic knowledge. The gopis
Were
only. I'm not sure if this is only or this one only. The gopis' only purpose was to remain always absorbed in
Krishna.
thoughts of
Krishna.
Who said Krishna first? Period. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport of the 21st chapter of Krishna. The
Gopis attracted by
the flute. Yay! So you see, that's a very non-violent chapter. It's not aggressive at all, and it's beautiful. And when Bhaktimarga Swami read this to me, I thought, whoever wrote this story has got a wild imagination. And he said, it's the truth. Okay. How'd you think about that one? So anyways, you're going to appreciate the spirit behind all of this, the rasa, the raga, the mood of what's going on here. It's intense devotion to Krishna, and there was a natural draw by the gopis towards Krishna's sound vibration. The sound of the flute simply reminded him of him. It's just like if you have a car of a certain model or a certain make, and you blow, you press on the horn, and it just immediately you may think of that particular car. And so it came automatic for the gopis to be thinking of Krishna. There wasn't a time at which they were not absorbed in him. Savaimana Krishna Padara Vindayo. Their mind was absorbed in this. The activities of the Lord. And these are good remembrances of the Lord. For instance, his cowherd activities, looking after the animals. And as we discussed yesterday, Prabhupada was there, he came 50 years ago, and he was talking about, animal protection. Way long before anyone came up with the idea of animal rights, or especially the rights of the animals were barnyard animals. I remember when I was in high school, one of my favorite books was Animal Farm by Orwell. And it reads so good. It just flows like the nectar that's coming off of, the sound vibration off of Krishna's flute. And it was all about animals protesting against their abusive farmer. And they all got into it like a major strike, a major coup. And this farmer was sent off the land. But then, of course, the animals themselves got political, and it turned into a new kind of form of government. And I think it was Snowball the pig. He was in charge for a while. Yeah. The pigs took over after a while. That didn't pan out well after. It was just brilliant. It's such a good read. But anyways, animals are what they are. They need protection, and we can see that there's many features of Vrindavan that have to do with animals and creatures. And they seem to be in their right element. They seem to enjoy this naturalness, the green of Vrindavan. And have anybody been to Vrindavan? Okay. So some of you wish to go there. And I know that when I first went in '78, my first visit there, it was more green than it is now. And so there's a major concern about so-called development or devilment, demonment, whatever you want to call it. There's this one area, Ramanreti, where there's the sand that Krishna Balaram used to play at. And, and people have encroached on that and bought the properties and put buildings on it. How dare they, I love India, but it's kind of the land of lawlessness. Sometimes you can do whatever you want to do and spoil them. The tirthas, the holy places need to be protected. The Yamuna needs to be protected, the waters, the greenery, And, it would be a great seva, a great service, if devotees worldwide would get behind the restoration of these holy places. I think it would be a great seva. In many ways, to me, I'm just giving my opinion, it would be, it would far excel just doing some puja there all the time, or having darshan. If you actually do something about the land itself, Because what's important, it's not just the temple It's not just Krishna Balaram Mandir or Bunki Bihari Mandir, it's the land around that's also sacred. It's like an extension of the temple, right? And it needs to be kept clean and things like that. And you've all heard about some horror stories where people come and some dacoits come in the middle of the night and they steal some of the cows. And every cow or bull, they're worth a lot of money. They're worth many rupees. And they steal in the middle. People have gone into our goshalas and done thievery, you know. And, you know, you might get some help from the police, but the police are bribed in some cases. So things need to be cleaned up. We live in Kali Yuga. We live in a time which is quite dark. Intentions aren't always the best. And still at the same time, our objective, or Prabhupada's mandate, our Guru Maharaj, you know, all of us, our spiritual master, head of our society, would want us to preserve and restore these places of pilgrimage. Prabhupada also established the MVT, which is the Mayapur Vrindavan Trust, and part of those funds are meant to restore some of the places of pilgrimage in Vrindavan and other holy places, whether they were part of ISKCON's territory or not. He wanted some funds to go towards the upkeep, you know. And one of the biggest challenges is, you know, the pollutants, our tendency to destroy everything, you know. You've all heard that all creatures on this earth, on this planet, they all operate in such a way that there's like a recycling culture there that happens automatically. But humans have found ways, and I don't want to talk about the glories of industrial revolution, but ways to just pollute and contaminate everything. Yeah. I remember as a kid growing up in the Great Lakes area, like Lake Erie was the most challenged of all the lakes. And we used to go to the beach, and we used to go for swimming. And we didn't think twice about it too much. We go and swim, and maybe that's why, you know, we became immune. But we would see fish this big just lying down there, dead. You know, dead. And it didn't have anything to do with fishermen coming in and tossing the fish. It was just the pollutants who were coming in. And some people got wise around the 60s and said, listen, if we continue on like this, our Great Lakes will be dead lakes. And so, you know, it was, then I joined the movement and I saw that after some time, same beaches I went to, oh, the fish aren't dead anymore. So at least the government controls were put on what you put into the lake. But still much work needs to be done. So we have a lot of raw sewage that goes right into the Keshi Ghat, into Vrindavan, and it's spoiling the whole, you know, the water system, which at one time, according to Shastra, was crystal clear with water. Of course, that same water has already gone through the city of Delhi. So you can imagine how helly it is after going through Delhi. And it gives you sick to your belly. So now it's really a serious matter. As Krishna conscious people, we need to get behind the environmental concerns, issues, and, you know, not create the garbage and the trash that we all as humans tend to do. All over the world, Americans pollute the most, and probably Canadians are right behind, you know. And as we were so used to buying things and then trashing it. And of course, people make things to break. That's another sin. Personally, I just go a little bit nuts when I see, made in China, no! Why not made in Canada? And made not to break. Made to last. So these are kind of environmental concerns. They are very much a part of our culture. They should be part of our concerns. And we should not feel good about just doing our little puja and doing, I did my kirtan, I did my 16 rounds, I'm a good boy now. But we should actually be a little more involved in a greater way by looking at the environmental situations. You know? So like the whole area of Calgary, it's a big area, it's a big spread out city, the largest city in Canada, you know, land mass wise. And, you know, we spread out so far and wide, it's all making way for cars. What do cars do? They pollute. Even if you've got like gas emissions are reduced to, because you use electricity or something, still you're polluting some, you're creating these cars who don't always get recycled. Now last time when I did my walk, I was in Jersey City, and before getting into New York City, I just saw, acres and acres of, trashed automobiles. And said, this is a human shame. It makes you want to cry. Right? So as Vaishnavas, as true devotees of God, we should have some sentiment for our land in which we live. And we should be thinking about the future, our generations to come. Our native people, they thought 7 or 8 generations before when they made a decision. Now, we are so-called advanced, sophisticated people who can do anything with technology. We do not think like that. We don't think for the future. We don't even think for the next generation. It's all about me, what's good now, isn't it? So there's a very strong element of greed and selfishness, and selfish should not be a part of our culture. Prabhupada told us not to eat fish, and selfish is the worst of them all. And so we got to get away from these things. That may be so that means looking at what you have. Is it really important to stock up just because it's a cheaper rate? And stock up with all your junk and stuff. I like to say junk. I don't want to be blunt about it. Not stuff, that's too soft. Junk. Junk. And we can actually, how much, it happens sometimes here. In our temples, people give a drink. They say, oh, I'd like a fill up. And they bring you another cup. Wait a minute, you could just fill this cup. Then it creates more, you have to think about those kind of things. And styrofoam out of the picture. Maybe cups that are, made of corn or something that are, we must be thinking about these things.
Yeah.
We have to be participating. And personally, I would like to see, we recently established in Canada a Rath Yatra think tank. Sahadev is a member. And that think tank involves how we can present ourselves in a more effective, relevant way to the public. And one thing that I was really trying to encourage in our presentation, let's go more green. Let's make more green statements. Let's at least get behind, farming, agricultural, eco-friendly kind of systems and prove it. Now we're all city slickers. Some of you are from the burbs, and it's all really the same. We're urbanites, and we're all guilty of trashing, making a lot of trash and junk. So we can, in our own household affairs, improve and analyze carefully how I can use less, how I can make less mess, and keep things, try to maintain things the best possible, and work along those lines. And I'm sure the Acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, and everyone would be very happy with that, if we could do that. I was horrified once. We went to where Krishna and Balaram were educated, in UP, what's the name of the?
Ujjain.
Yeah, Ujjain. And we were served prasadam on disposable plates, okay? I can't remember the material that was made of it, but we finished, maybe there were 40 or 50 of us leaders there, and we were all lined up, and then one of the servers came out, picked them all, and just tossed them out over the wall, and the cups. And I was horrified. I said, how can you do that? Another time, we had Padayatra in Guyana. And in Guyana, the Dutch settled there. They were the ones that kind of settled in there, made lots of dikes and canals and so on like that. So we had a nice chanting party, and someone took a bottle of water, like the plastic water that we drink, that we are proud of. Look at the plastic water. Wow. It was one of the ladies section. I didn't see who did it, but it just threw it in the air and twirled a little bit and landed in the canal. And I was leading the kid, and I said, wait a minute, who did that? Who just said, I got upset. I'm sorry, I got upset. And of course, after I said, who did that, then nobody wanted to come forward, because the lion is here, But I just had to say, listen, this is unacceptable behavior by Vaishnava. Unacceptable. Here we are promoting our spirituality, and they see us doing this. How can anybody be impressed? I know that people are a little bit simple over there. It doesn't mean much, because that is how the culture has come about. That's how we don't think about these things. But we are good at burying things. We bury the trash. Just make a new hill. Have a new hill over here, a new hill over there. The area where I was raised, there's hills now. Well, they weren't here before. What's going on? It was all flat land, flat like a pancake. What happened? It's sad. And then, it was a big news, like Toronto garbage. They didn't know what to do with it. They thought, let's bring it to Kirkland Lake. The mine is empty now. Throw it in there. People in Kirkland Lake didn't, no, we don't want Toronto garbage. Nobody wanted it. And then, the state of Michigan, which was hard-pressed for dollars, they took our garbage. Up to a point, I don't know if they want it anymore. So we have to think about how to, really preserve, conserve, and all those kind of things. Very important part of our culture.
Yeah.
So you think about, do I really need all these clothes? Do I really need to support even the child labor industry? Do I need to, keep putting money into a faraway place, and keep supporting the cheap wares that we use all the time? Can we get back to making some of our own things? Wouldn't that be nice? Can we support our artisans? The people who work with their hands. We put everybody out of work. We put pretty much so many people out of work. And again, like I asked, how many farmers do we have here? Zilcho. Anyways, I just want to put add a few tails onto our message here. Because when I read Krishna Book and the imagery that's given here, it's all very pure. It's a very pure kind of green, clean crystal waters and so on. No elements of pollutants and a spoiled atmosphere. We have an obligation to bring it back or take it back to where it was, at least as close to as we can possibly do. Thank you very much. Are there any questions about anything here? Yes.
I had a question about, I know a while back, a few years back, I remember there was a restoration project for the Yamuna River.
Yes.
And I'm just wondering if you can give us an update as to how that, that was years ago when I heard about that, but I didn't really hear too much about after.
Yes, it's true. It did go on, and you're asking me for an update. I wasn't involved in the project, so I don't know, but maybe you can Google it.
Okay.
You can come back and tell us. I don't know. I have a big concern also. I just wasn't at the Yamuna this year. I was by the Ganga. But I was at the Ganga and this year and going for a bath, going for a bathing, cooling down. And there are people there. There's some local people there. And they're bringing all the soap suds. Now there is a sign there in the local language. And I said, no, soap nay, soap nay. And, and I had to say it loud a few times, And then, of course, so they stopped because they don't want to be exposed. But then the next people came, how much can you say the mantra, soap nay? So we need some kind of law enforcement for these kind of things, You can't do that in Canada. If you saw somebody in the Bow River with a shampoo, immediately, the first trekker or the first runner was "Hey, excuse me, but you can't do that here." And they'll call the police right. They'll get their cell phone up. There's some people here, spoiling the environment. Isn't it? That's right. But in India, it's not like that. We're behind in some areas. Don't get me wrong, I love India. I don't like the trash or the noise and the confusion and the architectural fiascos. But I love the people. I just like the people. That's all. That's why I keep going there. Anyways, thank you for the question, Prue. I'm sorry I couldn't answer you
No, it's
very
fine.
well. I just don't know where it stands.
I'll Google it later.
Yeah. Does Janardhan Maharaj come here sometimes? With Maharaj, with Gopal Krishna Maharaj? So you can ask him, he might know a little bit more, because he's headquartered there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. By the way, he's one of our boys who joined in Canada. Did you know that? Janardhan.
One of our...
Boys.
Oh, yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, he joined right here in good old Canuck land. Any other questions, Bruce, that you may have? Anything? My radar is going out there.
I have a question.
Yes, bro.
The Gopis were really attracted to Krishna.
Right.
Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that their devotion is unparalleled.
Right.
But yet they had this obstacle that their husbands were not very conducive, that their husbands proved to be not very conducive.
Can everybody hear okay?
No.
Do you want to say it a little louder, or I can repeat it?
Sure, I can say it a little louder.
Yay, you can do it! There's no such thing as can't.
So, the Gopis' devotion, as stated by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was unparalleled to anyone else's. Yet they had obstacles, such as their husbands, who were not very conducive.
Those damn husbands.
Who were not very conducive to their Krishna consciousness. But if they were so attached to Krishna, when Krishna provided them with very conducive husbands?
Well, you have to understand that whenever you're executing devotional service, there's always going to be some kind of hurdles, some kind of what we consider obstacles. You see, devotion to Krishna, it's not a cheap thing, In fact, you can say that's a quality, that you have to really work hard to achieve His mercy. And so even though we're talking about the scenario of the spiritual world, there is a little bit of a, what seems to be, makes it a little tough for the Gopis. But they did succeed. And but they had to be careful about time, place, and circumstance. It's like if you want to go to some of the very best temples in India, you have to really climb the mountain or go up the steps like Tirupati, how many ever that is. They don't always make it easy for you, right? So that's certainly one way to look at the situation. Krishna's not easy, or mercy's not easy to come by. Do you think Yashoda, when she's trying to chastise her son, that it's an easy thing for her? And she's got like mixed feelings there, right? Coming with a stick. Some people who might read and say, she's a child abuser. But it was always just used as a threatening thing. It was never lowered on Krishna. My point is that, just like to go to the temple here, if you're coming off 16th Avenue highway, you have to, your engine, your car feels it has to go up a little bit uphill, right? So just to achieve something, you have to work for it. And in the battle of Kurukshetra, which was between the Pandavas and the Kauravas, Prabhupada explained that in order for there to be a great victory, there had to be some hardship. There was the Pandavas, they were in exile for some time, and then some days they lost, out of the 18 days. It became like a real tight race, you can say, towards victory. So, as Churchill once said about failures, victories are always preceded by a number of failures or things that are difficult. Difficulties are placed on your path and before you can get somewhere. Like if you're going to walk across the country, there's some difficulties. Take it from me. It's not always that easy. I see these kids on these like electric run or whatever powered like skateboards. They just go. I said I wouldn't want to do that across Canada. No, that's no fun. You won't get the benefit. You won't get the exercise, the workout. And if you want to do bodybuilding, or anything like that, to get the result, you have to work hard at it, right? Like you're a runner, right? So it's not an easy thing. I mean, you have to really you have to have a lot of conviction, and the Gopis had that conviction to see Krishna, to be with. It was at risk. But that's certainly one way to look at the situation. It wasn't like a piece of cake, for them. They weren't living on easy street. Good question, though. Anything else? Yes.
What do you think about David Suzuki?
David Suzuki? I like a lot of things he said. I mean, on one of his shows, which I saw, it was about India and how the cows are so important and sacred, cows and bulls, and how it meant people's livelihood forever. Even to this day, people benefit so much from these animals. So he's made a lot of good statements. I know he said something about rituals. The big thing that's missing in today's world is a passage of rites. Right? That meaning, like in ancient times, you had to prove that you take steps that allow you to reach a level of maturity. Like say in the Jewish tradition, they have, the young boy gets bar mitzvah, oh now you're a man. Like that. And you have these rites of passage. The rites of passage is really the terminology. And so rituals are important, and he was talking about that. And in a secular world, very capitalistic world, we just eliminate any of those kind of things. It's all about money, getting a promotion. It's all about you. And it's not like a family affair. It's not a community event necessarily. So what helps you to become a real man or a real woman, a real mature person is, let's say, determined by the particular qualities you have. So he made some statements about that. So in terms of environmentalism, protecting, yeah, that's very important. He was talking about carrying your coffee mug with you to work and using that and just washing it out and just keeping it and using that. Right? Instead of disposable everything, tossing everything out. Everything's thrown away. We're very good at throwing everything away. We do it with God too. We threw him away too. I don't know his stance on God. I know he's into native spiritualism. But yeah, I think we can learn a lot from him. Because he's put a lot of energy into it. Into his thoughts and the environment. This is the planet Bhumi, that we live on. And when Bhumi was abused, that's how Krishna Book opens up, then Bhumi herself transformed into a cow, rather, and was making an appeal for help to Brahma, the creator. And Brahma says, well, this looks like a big project, more than I can handle. Let me go to the big chief, Vishnu. And help, like the Beatles song, help, I need somebody, help, not just anybody, help, I need Vishnu, help. I just put that in. Yeah, so, just because we're Vaishnavas and we hear from the Acharyas, it doesn't mean we can't hear from other people who can have had some experience and are very visionary, and they look into the future. And David Suzuki always reminds everybody, if we don't do this now, then this will happen. These will be the consequences. So we should take heed to those warnings. Because what he's talking about, it's sattvic. It's a mode of goodness. It's not rajas. Right? And people have they're ticked off by oil industry. It means our livelihood for a lot of people, but can we do something better? Maybe it's a good idea. Like, I think we talked about it yesterday. You don't drink oil like a smoothie, but oil. But what you need is food. So why don't we grow it? We got all the technology, we have the money. We heat all our malls and our condos. Why can't we have some nice greenhouses and grow local tomatoes? Right? Local cucumbers. What else? What do you like? You like
Potatoes. Potatoes.
Potatoes. Right. What else?
Cauliflower.
Bangin'. Please don't say bangin'. Don't tell me eggplant. When somebody asks me, do you like eggplant? I like if the egg can stay on the plant. But every other vegetable, of course, somebody cooks it nice, then I'm okay with it. I like the way the Bengalis do it. They cut a nice slice and they put it in ghee, hot ghee, and then it's good, isn't it, Baru? You do that every time I come to your house, right? Or I go to one of they got it down. But don't serve it in mustard seed oil. Please. Anything else? Yes.
So my question was along the lines of the food and producing your food. How important is it to grow your own food and offer to the deity, as well as offering ahimsa milk to the deity instead of the status quo of just buying whatever cheap milk?
Well, you always, when it comes to offering items to the Lord, you always do the best items you can possibly offer. So if you go in that direction, then you stand to benefit more. Like if you really love somebody, you give them the best quality material, right? In the way of food, and food is very important. We are warned sometimes. It goes off here a little bit here and there. That it's whatever your food you're intaking, that will affect your body, and people are getting sick now. When I was in Winnipeg and I flew to Edmonton, I picked up a Globe and Mail. Okay, I do once in a while. I'm a Swami, I can do them. It's okay, not just Bhagavad Gita, if you know what's going on in the world, There's an article there by a writer, I forget her name. So he's saying, in the 50s, we had lots of whole milk. We had lots of butter. And she was talking about steak and things like that. Forget that, just put that to the side. And we were all, and in the 50s, there would be one girl in the classroom who would be obese, and everyone would pick on her. Although all of us, the rest of us, ate like horses, and we looked like rakes. But then we were told by nutritionists that all this stuff getting clogged in your arteries will not be good for you later on in your life. So we're going to switch to skim milk. We're going to change this and that. We're going to eat lots of pasta now. Okay. End result is those people who've switched those diets, they're having all the problems. The obesity and everything like that. And then she pointed out that the people in perhaps the French are the ones that, stick to their bread, stick to their butter and the best kind of, the stuff you can get. And they are the strongest and least prone to have these heart-type diseases and blood clots and things like that. So basically the article said, pass the butter, they had it all wrong. So here's another thing. Somebody comes along and says, this is wrong. Now we're finding something new. New studies show. Isn't that happened so many times? So the quality of food was better in the 50s, 60s, 70s. I remember when I joined the movement, The carnations, like what you're wearing over there, they actually had smell. And it was somewhere around the 80s, they made it so that they don't smell for speedy production, I guess. No smell anymore. The white carnations usually smelled the most, let's say, were most intense. And even the red ones, they had some smell to them, but that disappeared. Dunya, I remember when we used to get dunya. Wow, you cut it, an explosion of energy, comes into the air, and you just, garnish everything with dunya. Now when you get it, come on. And now it's like, food is such a disappointment that you eat something and wait, I have to eat more, I have to bite more because there's got to be flavor here. And you keep biting and biting and there's no flavor. And so I think I need more because I'm just looking for the flavor. Isn't it like that? So pathetic. So pathetic. And yet if you grow your own things on season, you'll be amazed by what you get. It's effervescent. So, in terms of offering items to Krishna, yeah, we should offer the best, and in season if possible. Do the best you can, but don't go around cursing someone. That was sent from Mexico. Just do the best you can. We have to work in that direction. I guess the best thing most people can do is start some gardening. Do a little gardening. At least one season. Live healthy. Okay, yes.
I had a question regarding the dairy industry. I just want to know what your thoughts are in terms of...
It stinks.
Yeah, so
What more do you want? It stinks.
As devotees, Krishna loves milk. Cows, milk, the whole thing is quite glorified in our scriptures. So what should we be doing? Or is there a way...
Buy a cow, get a bowl, get some good milk. No, it's easier said than done.
Exactly. So are we committing sin by supporting the dairy industry, by purchasing these milks? How could we, or what's your opinion?
Well, whether it's milk or whether it's veggies or fruits or anything like that, it's all pretty sinful, it's all pretty disgusting, right? And when Prabhupada was with us, someone told him about the sugar, that it was, it was filtered through some ingredients with cow bone. And, and a few other things were pointed out to him. And he said, what can we do? This is Kali Yuga. Everything is contaminated. But then, at the same time, he did come up with a solution. He did want some people to take up seriously the agrarian kind of lifestyle. He did want us to do that. That we, he was a Gandhian. He followed Gandhi. And he always held on to that. Gandhi had his own idea of philosophy, and Prabhupada rejected that, but he didn't reject the lifestyle that Gandhi had come up with. Let's go back. And, Gandhi himself was very disturbed over what was going on with India, And, his contemporaries were into, let's get ahead in the world, let's get the industry going, and there should be a TV in every household, and all these things, and that's, I think that was during Mrs. Gandhi's time, Indira Gandhi's time. But so Prabhupada was very much for this, going back to nature, going back to a controlled environment, more simple kind of life. And when I walked last fall through Pennsylvania, I could really understand what Prabhupada was saying. With all those Amish people, they're amazing people, they're God-centered, they're into family, they're into hard work, and they're not frivolous. And when they buy something, they'll buy a property, cash. In many cases, it's cash. And, they're into slaughtering animals, that's the downside. But we can certainly take the gold from the stool, as Chanakya Pandit used to say, and take the good example that's there. So this is what Prabhupada really wanted us to do, to go in that direction. So you make do with what you have, but you work your way up to improving. like right in Toronto, the devotees there, like there's a farm outside the city, and they're trying to, they met with the dairy board, I think 3 times now, and saying, listen, this is our milk, it's part of our ritual, our culture, to have good milk that's not been processed. Of course, Prabhupada also said you have to boil milk 3 times before you use it in certain ways. But, you know, they've got such a tight situation that you can't do anything. So, I believe it's been 3 meetings now that we've been having on the basis of our cultural rights. We want to do this. So, I think that there's a good case for bringing good quality dairy back in. You can imagine all Krishna devotees. What about all the Punjabis that love dairy? They have to have their paranta soaking in butter, you know? And the paneer, it's the northern people that really like the dairy stuff. What about all that rally? Let's get all the Sikhs together, yeah, you know, and make a protest, make a difference, you know? Like the dairy industry, it's really pathetic in North America. You go to Europe, it just has much more flavor. They don't, you know, somewhere or other. You have to go into that direction. That's all I'm saying. Okay. And if you can support the industry that I know Harmony, I don't know if you have it here, but they don't slaughter the cows, but they do slaughter the bulls. So it's half right. You know? At least we're going in that direction. It's better quality milk. So support those industries that do support the Vedic way. I think that's the way to go. Right. Anything else, please? I'm looking at the time. It's 5 after 8. Should we? And then. Should we? What do you think? Paneer? I heard we're having kidney beans or something like that. Is that true? What can I say? Alberta is known for its natural gas properties. Anyways, Alberta, we love thee. We know that there's some economical, you know, challenges right now, and that Lakshmi Devi moves around quite a bit. I also go to Newfoundland, and you know, the industries, people there have been dependent on oil also for the last 5 years, and they're struggling now too. So, what can I say? We have to really rethink about how we live and go back to simple living and high thinking. When I was a kid, a lot of people just had cellars in their homes. The basement was a cellar. You put your potatoes, carrots, squashes, turnips, at least those things, apples, pears, down there. Then when we were young, my mom and dad arranged for canning things. We'd can our fruit. And we made pickles. We made pickle, you know, with a dill. You put like baby cucumbers. We did all those things. You know? And that's so economical. And when you take a pickle out, or you take even just a half a peach out that you put in there, and you come, it's for your dessert, and Mamma mia. It's so good. And we ate less, but we were more satisfied because there was flavor there. I think we should go with some of the kids. Arindama, he's anxious and antsy, so he's gonna call the shots here. What do you think, Arindama? Should we take a hike downstairs? He's being very humble. I think so. So thank you, Bruce. I don't know if there's time for kirtan, but we can just do the last Shadiya Vijayam. Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay, let's go. Everybody ready? Let's be beatniks for a few minutes. Shira Vichakala Jyotendriya Kahekala Shiva Phale Vishaya Sagare Dharma Jivayati Lobam Musadharmati Akejita Kodina Sansare Krishna Bhaktimarga Kori Bari Jiva Jai Swaprasad Anadilla Vai Say Namrita Pao Radha Krishna Kunai Nimadak Kochi Kanyanitari Jani Thai Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Thank you.
Very cool.
Okay, we're just going to throw this garland out to whoever's supposed to receive it. Listen, Vani Priya, don't be too eager. Okay, so I have to. It can't be partial. Okay.